Right now, federal law enforcement officials are actively drafting contingency plans for a highly specific logistical operation, locking a former president in a jail cell. The United States Secret Service and local court security are taking the threat of a judge incarcerating Donald Trump as a literal, immediate possibility. They are mapping out exactly how that operation would work. This goes back to a New York courtroom where Donald Trump is standing trial for 34 felony counts. Looking at this accounting ledger, the underlying charges stem from allegations that he falsified business records to hide hush money payments and cover up an affair right before the 2016 election. For a long time, the idea of locking up a chief executive felt like hypothetical cable news chatter. But with behind-the-scenes agencies physically mapping out cell blocks and security perimeters, it has escalated into a real, historic logistical operation. To protect the integrity of the trial, Judge Juan issued a strict gag order. The mandate was clear: no public attacks on witnesses, the jurors deciding the case, or the court staff. Despite the explicit boundary, Trump crossed it repeatedly, using his public platform and social media accounts to target the exact people the order was designed to protect. This chart tracks the timeline of his statements. You can see the defiance stacking up, resulting in him being held in contempt of court 10 separate times. This stack shows the court's standard response. The judge applied a financial penalty of $1,000 per violation, pushing the total fine to $10,000. But as this graphic shows, $10,000 barely registers against the net worth of a billionaire. As a mechanism to force compliance, the financial penalty completely failed. When the fines failed to change his behavior, the judge abandoned monetary penalties and reached for the most severe remaining consequence in his judicial arsenal. Judge Merchan put his warning on the permanent record. He explicitly stated that if the violations continue, the court will have to consider a sanction of up to 30 days in a physical jail cell. The legal reasoning was blunt. The judge made it clear that occupying the Oval Office, or running for it, does not grant a defendant immunity from contempt sanctions. Trump raced to higher appellate courts, filing emergency motions to delay the trial, move the venue, and suspend the gag order completely. But the appellate judges decisively shut down every single request, leaving Judge Merchan's authority fully intact. With every avenue for appeal exhausted, the defense is completely cornered. The choices narrow down to strict compliance with the order or a jail cell.
Which brings physical mechanics. How exactly does a local justice system incarcerate a former president who is also an active candidate? By law, the Secret Service has an absolute mandate to protect their assigned individual. That means armed agents can never leave their protectee's side, even inside a detention facility. This creates a chain of custody complication that has no prior comparison. You have a local or state correctional facility trying to assert control over an inmate, while federal agents simultaneously maintain a protective perimeter around that exact same person. A highly classified national figure in a standard jail environment requires isolating cell blocks, clearing transport routes, and heavily screening every corrections officer. It forces opposing federal and local mandates to collide, putting American government infrastructure through a literal physical stress test. Beyond the day-to-day logistics of securing a cell block, this situation points to a much deeper friction. This diagram illustrates the core constitutional issue at play. It asks whether the judicial branch actually possesses the physical power to enforce its authority against a figure representing the executive branch. Executing a jail sentence for contempt would take the abstract idea that no one is above the law and prove it in the most literal way possible. If the judge is forced to act and law enforcement follows through, the theory of American checks and balances will be tested in real time. The judge has drawn a definitive red line. Higher courts have stepped out of the way, and security agencies have their operational plans ready. The single remaining variable in this equation is the defendant's own public behavior. Just one more public attack at a witness or a juror will cross that final boundary. The infrastructure is waiting, leaving everyone to watch and see if a single sentence typed on a phone or spoken into a microphone forces the court to lock its doors.